unjust beatings and murders against us. And what we find is there is a pattern in their behaviour and in ours too. We allow it to continue because we are living in their system and it's their rules. If we go back to the attack on the young queen from last week, look at where she was. She attends an institution, a so-called school, that is created by the oppressor. We put our children in the oppressor's institution to be brainwashed by them, and we open our young people up to attacks as they spend each and every day that turns into years amongst them. It's like throwing them to the wolves. Think, why are we putting our young kings and queens in the clutches of the oppressors? Because we ourselves are still in chains in our minds. We have come to accept that the oppressor's way is the right way. And removing ourselves from them is not an option in our minds. We stay to be further tortured and make every excuse under the sun as to why we cannot unite and remove ourselves from amongst the European. I was born here. We were here first. I'm not running. This is my country too. Yes, but are we in control of our lives here? The answer is no. We are still in chains. We are still like slaves. You know, I always talk about, and my whole brand is based upon the greatness of the African, genes of greatness, and returning to that greatness by self-belief, which turns to action. We do not truly believe that we are great. If we did, we would not continue to put our children into their school system. We would not continue to put ourselves into their 9-to-5 corporate plantation. We would not continue to spend all of our wealth in their system. We would not continue to allow ourselves to be beaten, jailed, and murdered through their system. We cannot continue to beg the European to be nice to us and assimilate ourselves into their system. It's madness. I'm not saying pack my one suitcase, pick up my 2 foot and run off to Jamaica tomorrow. I'm saying we have to strategize behind the scenes to ultimately remove ourselves from the European system. And that is what this podcast is all about. And also the Dark Girl Boss community. That's what it's all about. Create unity, create economic power, remove our money from the European tax system, empire build. Akon said it the best when he said, Africa is the only place in the world where black people can go and build Fortune 500 companies from scratch within 5 years. Black people, go back to Africa. Whatever you're doing here, do it there. Whether it's real estate, entertainment, education, whatever, do it there. Let me tell you about my tour company, Genes of Greatness Tours. I run heritage trips to Sierra Leone. So December 2023, I'm running an all-girls trip to show you, in the first instance, the magnificence of Sierra Leone. So more about that when you join me on the Dark Girl Boss private community platform, the safe place to strategize. I'm back, girls. Let's talk isms. Imagine this, just for one moment. We unite as a people, and let's say 50% of us, all at the same time, removed ourselves and our money from the UK economy. What do you think would happen to the economy? Hello, it would collapse. The pound would shrink to an all-time low. It would become worthless. That's why the European strategizes years in advance to keep you within the system. It wants you under control. It wants you to keep its economy going by paying into its tax system and circulating your wealth within it and feeding its needs. To keep you under control so you don't know your greatness. You don't unite with your kings. They use all the isms. Let's deconstruct. First up, feminism. We hear women say, I'm a feminist, an independent woman. I can do what a man can do. I don't need a man. That is European woman's talk. A goddess knows her worth and does not distract or involve herself in ridiculous campaigns of begging a man to respect her. Feminism is a construct of the European, used to divide the black king and queen and assimilate the dark woman. The feminist movement is a fight about economic rights and personal control. But why is the dark woman jumping on the bandwagon of this cause? It's because we have settled into the European system and mindset. So we see ourselves as having the same fight as a European woman, and that is absolute rubbish. Hear this. On one hand, the European man puts his woman on a pedestal above other women because that is about him, an extension of him. He is saying how great he is. On the other hand, he still believes that his woman is beneath him. So within a Western racist power structure, where does that leave you? Think. The Western woman had to campaign for equality, the right to own property, the right to vote, and so on. You, as a dark woman in your rightful society, did not have to do that. You and your king were equals, just with different roles, but those roles were executed in unity. All of the rights and privileges that the European woman has protested and campaigned for, African women already had thousands of years ago. How many times do I need to say it? We were revered by our kings. We did not need feminist rights. Our attributes and powers as goddesses was recognized as equal. Europeans who were present in what was known then as Kemet and now as Egypt, our land was renamed by them, after, we were conquered. Anyway, at the time, they were astonished with the customs of dark men and women ruling happily together alongside one another, and that the men were quite comfortable with it, our men, and didn't feel their manhood undermined in the least. The Europeans didn't understand the reason for this. Was that, the dark woman was held in high esteem. In ancient African cultures, whereby the European woman, on the other hand, were not afforded such rights or freedoms and were not held in that high esteem. But fast forward 400 years, as a result of the Holocaust, you, the melanated woman, find yourselves at the bottom of Western society with your nation fragmented, taking on causes that have absolutely nothing to do with you, and therefore reinforcing the power that the European holds over you, which distracts you from your progression. A feminist agenda is a distraction that will not progress your cause as a goddess of your nation. Your rights as a dark woman will never be equal to that of the white woman. In the eyes of the European, within his power structure, any so-called equal rights that he sees fit to grant, he grants to his woman, not you. You are a backdrop to any rights, a consequence. You are not the actual real receiver of the rights, or for whom they were created. You don't really qualify under their rules. Remember, we are Africans first and women second. Our life journey is far removed from that of the European woman. We have in common gender, and that is where the similarities end, as our life experiences are incomparable. Your story and experiences are on opposite spheres of the spectrum. We must recognize